Hey everybody, right, a real review of the BSA Gold Star. This is a 2023, which I bought for £4,999. It was registered March 2023 and is currently 7 months old. Original price £6,600, but I guess from the dealer you can get this for £6,300. I reckon. If it was brand new, we're going to do a review front to back of the bike while I'm riding round Newcastle under Lyme on this lovely cold November day. So, £4,999, and it had 1,100 miles on the clock. And I thought that was a fair deal. The bike was a bit scruffy, but it's been cleaned up now, and I've checked everything out, and everything's absolutely fine on it. Everything's absolutely fine. Taking a right here. I give it a good clean, and I've put a quad lock on the bike, hence the phone on there, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I've also ordered heated grips. My hands are a little cool at the moment. It's about 6 degrees and it's getting a bit cool for me. So I've ordered heated grips from Oxford, and they're about £60. They're going to be delivered today at some point by Amazon. And I'll fit those over the weekend, and I'll make a video on how to fit them. It's very easy to fit. So we'll do that in a day or two. So, anything else that I need to tell you about this? I'm 56 years old, live in a nice area, everything's okay. I've got 9 years no claims bonus. In fact, I've got more than that, but they don't go beyond 9 years. And the insurance for this, for me, costs about just over £100. Just over £100, fully comp. There you are, that's giving you a flavour. So, who's this bike aimed at? Well, this is a real step back to the 1960s with the ton-up boys, and it certainly causes some attention as I've been driving it around. And I have been driving it around. I've got about 180 miles on it now, and I've been checking it out and making sure everything's okay. Come on, and everything is okay. I've done about 170 miles on it. I've also done a power test, which I'll put a link in the description, so you can go and have a look at that on this bike, just to prove to you that it accelerates nice and strong and has got a good top speed. I've done also a miles per gallon test down the motorway, because I need to know that before I start touring on it. And it's doing about between 70 and 75 miles per hour. It's bringing back about 65 miles per gallon, which is not so bad. So that's okay. That's okay. I need some pannier for it. Unfortunately, I've been in touch with BSA, and they've given me a price for their pannier of about £630, which is really, really expensive. So I'll not be getting pannier from BSA. I think that's a bit shocking, that. So that's 10%. The pannier is 10% the cost of the value of a new bike. I think that's a bit bizarre. So I will go and get some Lomo throw-over pannier, and they cost about £60 or £70. The soft pannier, so I'll be okay there. So we're just taking a wander around Newcastle under Lyme, which is not far from where I live, and we're now on the BSA Gold Star 2023, and I've gone and bought this bike so I can do a longer test on it. I do have a Triumph Tiger 900, which is my usual bike, but I thought I'd go and get this bike because there's not a lot of long-term tests on it. It always seems to be people that have borrowed it for an hour or two, or a day or two, and I'm going to do a longer test on this. My aspiration is to take it onto a tour, maybe in December. I don't know. I've got an aspiration of Mallorca, but based on the weather going through France, I'm not sure about that. So I might just have to pop up to Scotland or Wales or something like that. So we'll see from there. Right, let's talk about the bike, front to back. 18-inch wheel on the front and a 17 on the back. The 18-inch wheel makes it just like the Triumph Tiger. It absorbs the big bumps. The tyres on the bike are tubed tyres. They are not tubeless because of the spoked wheels. Yeah, so that's that. I don't have any problems with it. Some people say that it seems to drop at slow speed. You know, it seems to flop over. Never had that problem before, and I don't have the same. Oops. And I don't have the same problem with. And I don't have the same problem with the Triumph Tiger, because that's got a bigger wheel on the front, so it doesn't drop in the corners. So anyway, it is what it is. So the 18-inch wheel is great. There's no problem. 17 on the bike. It's got a single disc on the front, and the brake, you don't need to know the size of the disc, but you can always find it out online. But they are Brembo, and they work perfectly. You can feel the brakes through the handlebar or the handle lever, and everything works just fine. The brakes are adequate for the bike, and they do the job that they are expected to do. It does have ABS on the front, and it works as I expect it, but I'm not. This is strange. Maybe it's because it's cold. The ABS should work as it should. Moving on to the suspension at the front, it's a little soft, but that's what it is. But it's actually okay for the price point of the bike, so that's okay. It's absolutely fine. The lights, the front light, I haven't tried it at night, but I suspect it's okay. I've tried it on the drive and it seems absolutely fine. The high beam looks like it's going to be fine as well. The clocks are wonderful. You can see that they start at about 1 o'clock rather than the typical 7 or 8 o'clock on most normal analogue bikes, and they are wonderful. Once you get used to them, they're absolutely fine. Absolutely wonderful. On the left hand clock, mile per hour, is the indicator where it's showing the odometer and trip A and trip B, and that is adjusted with this button here, where you roll through the cycle of trip A, trip B, the odometer, etc, etc. And that's absolutely fine. Easily readable. On the right hand side, the RPM meter, we have the tank, the fuel gauge, and that is really cool. And is easily readable. There's no problem. Oh, it's starting to rain now. There's no misting on the clocks. Everything seems to be absolutely fine. You've got power here to power up your mobile phone and sat nav and all that kind of rubbish, and that I have tested that out and it works absolutely fine. What else? The handlebars are in a great position. The mirrors work perfectly well for me. Lots of people complain about the mirrors, but they work perfectly well for me. I've probably got skinny shoulders, so there you go. It's starting to rain. Let's take a right here. and the switch gear on the handlebars is just like is very good. It really is good. It's much more towards Triumph than it is Royal Enfield, so it's better than Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield are good. They're okay for the price point, but you know, this one's more like more towards Triumph, as is the general build of the motorcycle. Yeah, the general build of the motorcycle is better than Royal Enfield. Right, petrol tank holds basically 3 imperial gallons, and if it does 70 miles per gallon, which I think it will do, that's 210 miles range. So you don't obviously run it until it's dry, but there you are, that gives you a bit of a flavour there. So the engine, 652cc, twin overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, and there is 1 cylinder. It's a lovely little thumper. A lovely little thumper. Plenty of torque, 45 brake horsepower, no problems at all. No problems at all. It's a wonderful little engine, and it's super smooth. Super smooth. Not like the singles of the past. There we go. There you go. And sounds lovely. I've actually removed the baffle out of the exhaust, and it's not overly noisy or anything like that, because there is another baffle inside it, just to make it breathe a bit better. Maybe that's why it keeps on stalling. Maybe I just need to get the ECU sorted out. It sounds lovely. It sounds just like it used to in the 1960s, when the bad boys used to ride these bikes. Bit of a rebel's bike, isn't it, really? It looks just like 1960s. It causes a lot of attention, so people will stop you and people will want to talk to you about it. I had a guy yesterday and he thought it was an original from 1960s, until I said, look at the number plate, it's brand new. Come on, decide what you're doing. Don't pull out on me. Let's go straight across. In fact, no, let's turn left. So that's the engine. The clutch is super light. I'm not sure if it's a slipper clutch, but my goodness, it is super light, and it works perfectly well with this little single cylinder engine, single piston engine. The gearbox, 5-speed gearbox, is super slick. I know it's done 1100 miles, and it's obviously been running and all that kind of rubbish, but this is super slick. It's one of the nicest, easiest gearboxes I've ever ridden them with, and I'm not just saying that because I own the bike. Yeah, I bought the bike so I could do a long-term test on it. I'm not emotionally connected to this machine. Yes, I wanted to do long-term tests on this machine. So it's super slick. Clutchless changes are wonderful, both up and down. So it's like having a quick shifter. There you go. So that's the engine, the gearbox and the clutch. Let me just talk to you about the technology. It's got simple technology, like I've said, using the information button here. It only has odometer, trip A, trip B. A lot of people now are paying lots and lots of money. I know on my Triumph Tiger, the technology on that, of which I don't use, I really don't use if I'm honest, must have cost somewhere in the region of £2,000 or £3,000. If that technology was not on the Triumph, it would have been £2,000 or £3,000 cheaper than it was when I bought it brand new in January 2023. Okay, so, but this one doesn't have that, and that's why it only costs £6,500. Now, when it comes to technology and road mode, rain mode, snow mode, jet ski mode, this is all controlled here via the throttle using what's called my right hand and my right wrist, and my right wrist and hand are connected to what's called a brain, which is in the top of my head. And using the combination of my hand, my wrist and my brain, I then adjust this throttle based on the conditions that are presented to me by the weather, via the traffic, via the road that I'm driving. So having multiple riding modes seems to be a fashion at the moment, but it's certainly not on this. You're actually using your head and your wrist and your hand to control everything, yeah? And that's how it should be. However, I'm an old fart, and I understand I'm an old fart, but it is what it is. Right, moving on. We've done the engine, we've done the tank, we've done the range, the seat. Some people are complaining that this seat is uncomfortable. No idea why. It's a comfortable seat. I went on a long ride the other day and didn't have sore bum or numb bum or anything like that. I have no idea why. Maybe they're sitting a bit funny. Maybe it's me sitting a bit funny. But this seat is wonderful from my perspective. Never taken a pillion on this, so I don't know what it's like with a pillion. Moving backwards, the suspension, rear suspension. Some people complain that it's wallowing round in the corners. That's a load of rubbish. I've set this suspension on the rear, which is only preload, to my weight. Yep, and it works perfectly. Maybe some people ought to start setting the suspension to the weight and then giving the bike a chance. That said, on another experience I had a number of years ago, I bought a Kawasaki Versys. Let's get in front of it. 20 mile an hour on here. I bought a Kawasaki Versys and it handled like a pig. I was weighing 14 stone at that time, and the guys at Kawasaki said, do you want to go on a bit of a challenge? And I said, not a problem. And he says, we think you're overweight. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He says, you're raising the centre of gravity. Do you want to lose 3 stone? And I took up the challenge and I lost 3 stone. After that 3 stone had been lost, I rode the Versys again, and the handling on that Versys was absolutely superb. Thank you for not indicating. Absolutely superb. So it just goes to show you. Now, the guy who tested this over in India was probably about 10 stone in weight. So, you know, it's all set up for someone who's 10 stone. You've got to remember that, you know, if you're 16 stone, you're going to have to change the suspension on the bike. You know, get the C-clamp out and then move it up. Come on, dear. She's too old to be driving. My opinion, of course. Maybe she's an ex-rally driver and I don't even realise that. She might be the best driver in the world. Probably is. Is there anything else? The back chain, lube it up. There's no that's common sense. The back tyre's fine. The front tyre's fine. As I said, both tubed. It's a great bike. If you want a bit of fun, or you want a good commuter, and you've got some £5 plus, go and buy one. I hope this review has been of some use to you. I think it's a lovely bike. It's great and fun, and that's what we should be looking for every now and then. Just a bit of fun. Yeah. Let's just pull in here. If you found it useful, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, turn on notifications. I'll be uploading new videos on this bike and the Triumph Tiger and anything else that I ride. A couple of times a week. Subscribing and liking is very, very important. Thank you for watching. It's much appreciated. I'm hoping this was of use to you. Go and buy one, or go and test ride one. They are absolutely lovely. It's like It's just it's much more classical than the Royal Enfield. It's like a better version of the classic 500 Royal Enfield. It's just like that, but better. It's just great. It really is. Now I know that the engine light's on. That's a known problem. That's because the ECU needs to be updated to cater for 5 degrees Celsius in the UK. It was all set up in India, where it's obviously much warmer. So a new firmware update is coming out, and when that's out, I shall get the bike updated, and that problem will be resolved. That little amber light has no impact on performance, as you can see. I haven't popped a wheelie on it yet, but we'll have to wait and see about that. Hope you found it useful. Ride safely, don't do anything silly, stay within the speed limits. Always imagine that you're invisible and no one can see you, and then you've got half a chance of surviving. Thank you for watching. I'll see you very soon. Thank you. Bye bye.